I heard something this morning when I was digging deep into my podcasts because I had myself into another situationship that has since ended, and it left me deeply confused, and this gave me a lot of clarity. So I won't go too much into the situationship, but I'll just say this. What kept me in it and super confused was that his actions and his words didn't match. And I know that's like 101. The problem is he behaved better than he said he wanted or was. Like, he was the most intentional, supportive person that I have ever been with. Kind of makes me sad because he was like my best friend.
So let me get this straight. You are a woman who is now divorced. You have returned to the dating market, and now you're finding out that men don't want relationship. Guys, this is a very common story of modern women, divorced women, single mothers. I mean, honestly, just women in general in the West right now, is that for some reason they just end up in all of these situationships, and men do not want relationships with them. Okay? It couldn't be the fact that she's divorced, or that a lot of them are unpleasant, or they have children, or anything like this. It's just that the men are acting weird, of course. Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope you are all doing well. So on today's episode, I thought we might cover a video clip from this woman right here who is on TikTok. Now, this is a woman that appeared at the end of one of our recent episodes. We didn't fully cover this particular video or her story, but this is a divorced woman. Now, disclaimer, I don't know if this woman divorced her husband or if he initiated the divorce. Statistically speaking, guys, we all know that women are overwhelmingly the ones initiating the divorce. So on the balance of probabilities, she did. So we have this woman here who has decided to return to dating, as many of these modern women do. You know, they jump on their dating apps and they go out there and try and find their Prince Charming, only to find that the men don't want relationships. So we're going to be talking about that today. Now, guys, today's episode was sent to me by Matrix of Madness. I'm going to leave his channel linked in the pinned comments, so make sure that you go and check him out. Give him a sub if you're interested in this sort of content. And let's take a listen and break down what this woman has to say. As always, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments as well.
I heard something this morning when I was digging deep into my podcasts because I had myself into another situationship that has since ended, and it left me deeply confused, and this gave me a lot of clarity.
Okay, so this woman just said a lot right here. So number one, this woman has been in multiple situationships. And guys, when I say that this is a very common phenomenon for Western women, I really do mean it. It's very common. If you go out there and you talk to women and you ask them how their relationships are going and things like this, oftentimes they won't actually have an answer for you because they don't have relationships from men, right? They're struggling to get the men that they really want to commit to them. Now, if you try and give them any advice, guys, good luck to you because you're likely to get roasted. They don't particularly like any advice that helps them try and land a man, but hey. So number one, this woman has multiple situationships. Number two, she has a podcast, man, where it seems like she shares her dating experiences. Now, guys, people are welcome to have podcasts. Do what you will. But if you're going to go on a podcast and share your relationship information publicly, don't really expect a lot of men to be lining up, okay? Men, on average, are a bit more private when it comes to this stuff. We don't really like our relationship details all over the place. So if a guy is considering dating you and he sees you spewing this stuff all over the internet, talking about your personal relationships with other men, good luck to you, madam. I think that maybe if this woman spent less of her time yapping on TikTok and more time taking care of her skin, she wouldn't come across as a complete witch, and maybe people would actually empathize with her.
Busy, and I have a lot on.
Guys, I don't want you to be a witch either, which is why today's video is sponsored by Tiege Hanley. Guys, Tiege Hanley is a skincare company dedicated to creating straightforward skincare solutions for men. Their systems are designed to be incredibly easy to use. So perhaps if you're someone watching this, you're a male womanist and you're a bit dense, even you have the chance to follow along. Tiege Hanley offers various skincare systems to help improve your skin, but personally I recommend starting with their level 1 system. It has a face wash, it also has an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer as well, which is everything you need to get started with your simple skincare routine. I personally use Tiege Hanley's level 1 system since even before they sponsored the channel, which means I think they are a great recommendation that I can make to you guys. And guys, here's the proof. Don't just take my word for it. If you head on over to their website and you take a look at the reviews, you will find a ridiculous amount of positive 5-star reviews from all over the world. I'm going to put some reviews up on screen now for you to take a look at as well. And guys, because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering an incredible deal exclusively for you. Just click the link in the video description now to get 40% off of your first box plus a free gift as well. Plus, as a member of Tiege Hanley, you will also get 20% off of your future purchases. So guys, don't hesitate any longer. Check out the link in the video description to start your skincare journey today. But anyway, let's get back to today's episode. But let's continue.
So I won't go too much into the situationship, but I'll just say this. What kept me in it and super confused was that his actions and his words didn't match. And I know that's like 101. The problem is he behaved better than he said he wanted or was. Like, he was the most intentional, supportive person that I have ever been with. Kind of makes me sad because he was like my best friend.
Right. So he told you everything you wanted to hear. Maybe he got you flowers a couple of times. He was emotionally supportive, right? Or all of this kind of thing. So in your head, you're thinking, wow, this man, he's acting sort of like a boyfriend. Why won't he be my boyfriend? And the answer to that is because he doesn't want a relationship. These guys that oftentimes these women are chasing on dating apps and things like this, they're not looking for relationships. Hell, a lot of guys these days really aren't looking for relationships. And the reason for that, there's many, many different reasons. I mean, dudes are out here getting screwed over in the divorce courts, for example. Women are incredibly likely to divorce them. And we all know how divorce works for men. So there's one giant reason off the bat. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but it essentially chalks up to the old saying, the juice isn't really worth the squeeze these days. So this man is telling her everything she wants to hear. She's thinking she has a relationship lined up, but she doesn't get one. Now, guys, this is some, I suppose, some advice which I rarely ever give on this channel to perhaps the 3 women who watch this channel. But if you cannot get a relationship out of a man up front, save yourself the time. He doesn't want to date you seriously. Right? Trying to turn your situationships and your hookups into a relationship, probably not the best way to go, but hey, good luck to you. So let's keep going.
And it makes me sad because he was like my best friend. Okay, I'm clearly still a little choked up, but he was so there for me, like on a friend level, everything. And I mean, when I deleted just our recent text thread, there was over 3,000 messages, but we spoke on the phone more than we texted several times a day. And I was seeing him multiple times a week. But he consistently would tell me he's not at a place for a relationship, or there's things he needs to work on and things like that. So he would consistently, that he's not a good person, like just a lot of talks like that. And that he's not a good partner.
And so what did you decide to do, right? And what a lot of these women decide to do with their relationships these days, quote unquote, I shouldn't even say relationships because they don't have one, right? But when they're dealing with men, they'll just continue to chase the dudes if he's attractive enough and if he says the right things. I mean, guys, how many times do we see videos like this where women are talking about their dating experiences? Okay, and they just continue to chase these guys, right? They absolutely do. The man's attractive enough, she'll continue to be there. There's many, many stories out there of women chasing dudes for months at a time, And guys, I would encourage you, right? Go out there, have discussions with some of these women and ask them, like, how's dating treating you? And a lot of them will have quite a negative answer, right? And they'll bring up things like, oh, like ask them if they think that men are manipulative or that dudes are really throw their own words back at them, right? Do you think men these days are super emotionally intelligent? They'll say no. They'll tell you their dating experiences. And the truth of the matter, guys, is a lot of them are just failing. And what I mean by failing is they're failing to get relationships out of men. They can't get relationships from the dudes that they really want. I personally find this to be absolutely hilarious. And the reason I find it funny is because men are really not that hard to make happy. They're not that hard to be relationship material for. So when you have a whole bunch of women who a lot of guys really don't view as relationship material, you know that something is kind of going wrong in society, shall we say.
And like just a lot of talks like that, and that he's not a good partner, but would show me otherwise. So it was just this very confusing for me. And essentially it just reached a point that my little heart can't take it anymore. Like, I have abandonment wounds, so I can only take so much, and I think you just need to be aware of yourself, and you don't have to have hatred towards people or be upset at where they're at. At the end of the day, we're all just human beings on this earth, and we're all capable of so much, and I need to be aware of myself, and I'm proud of myself because there is a lot of limits within myself that I pushed through where I would have just bolted over something trivial, but I stuck with it, and I'm super proud of myself. I have made a lot of progress, and I'm hopeful for myself.
Okay, so let me just pause it there. We're throwing out words like progress, and we're talking about all of these things that you've been through, guys. I don't really know why we're patting ourselves on the back for, quite frankly, guys, these women are not respecting themselves, to be honest with you. That's really what it comes down to, okay? I haven't worded it that way on this channel before, I don't really think. Maybe a couple of times. But you're giving yourself a pat on the back for treating yourself and your body with no respect. I mean, let's really think about that for a second, guys. This is the place that a lot of modern women are in right now. And they do reach a point where they kind of go, okay, well, I can't get a relationship out of this guy. I've pushed for it really hard. Maybe like a few months down the line, she's tried to go for the relationship. The man didn't want her. So she thinks, fine, I'll cut it. And she thinks that she's proud of herself in this moment. Right? Truthfully, this whole thing should have never even happened to begin with. I mean, this woman is sitting here talking about abandonment issues, but the truth of the matter is that the man was never with her in the first place. You didn't get abandoned because the man was never with you. Okay, and I don't say that in meaning to roast this woman or anything like this, but let's just call it for what it is. You didn't have a relationship with the man. The man wasn't your boyfriend. He wasn't your husband. Okay, so what? He called you a lot and he texted you a lot. You didn't have a relationship with the guy. Right? And I can't tell these women what to do. Lord knows they won't listen to me, right? I'm just an animated vampire dude on the internet. But if you want to go out there and continue not respecting yourself and hooking up with random dudes, that's your own prerogative. But I do find it to make rather funny content for the channel. And it never runs out. So let's continue.
But it reached a point that I'm just like, the inconsistency in what is happening versus what is being told was just, my little mind could not take it anymore, my little heart. So I finally listened to this podcast today, and it gave me some clarity, because I think what got me so confused was the actions not matching the words. And I think this has given me what I needed. He has been in serial relationships. Relationship. And I remember this about myself after I got out of my marriage, that when I started dating right out of marriage, I was a wife still. I behaved like a wife. I was loyal like a wife to a man that only let me see him once a month. But like, I still had a wife mindset. And I realized that he still has a committed relationship mindset, although he doesn't want that. So he behaves that way despite not wanting it, because that's what he's used to and familiar with. It's easy for him because that's just what he knows. and I was taking it as that's what he wanted. Does that make sense? So be careful with that. I think that he behaved in a way that he was comfortable with and familiar with, but it was confusing on my end because he was behaving in a way that showed he was capable of being in a committed and loving relationship.
I'll say this, guys, okay? Many men are capable of being in these loving, caring relationships. They are capable of looking after you, of paying the bills, of, you know, being that shoulder to cry on and stuff like this. The problem is many dudes don't want to do this because they've been treated like crap for doing it for a very long time. I mean, guys, how many videos are out there right now, or how many women in general in society right now are saying, listen, I don't need no man, right? I'm strong and independent. Don't talk to me. I don't need a guy's approval for anything. I'll wear whatever I want to the club, right? Men ain't crap. I mean, we have seen this absolutely everywhere. And I have to throw this caveat before the all police come to my channel. Obviously, it's not all women who think this particular way, but enough of them do, to the point where men have said, listen, I hear what you're saying. You don't want us to approach you? Fine. You know, you don't want all of these, you don't want flowers anymore. I mean, guys, again, try showing up to a first date these days with flowers. Women are going to think you're nuts. Like, these women are the ones who think that you're crazy for putting chivalry up front. I mean, how many times have dudes been out here doing this crap for women, and they just get treated like garbage? You know, oh, you want men to marry you, you want men to take you seriously. Okay, well, let's look at the consequences of that. Number one, they can lose a lot of their assets, they can lose their children in divorces that are, as far as I understand, more likely than not to happen. In any case, it's really quite likely a very sizable chunk of marriages end in divorce. Of course, it increases as women become more college educated, as far as I understand as well. You know, the guys have a lot to lose and not really a lot of upside, and they've also been treated like crap for a very long period of time. So if you're going to sit here and you want to have discussions about, you know, why won't men have relationships with me? It's so confusing. It's really not that confusing at all. Men just don't really have a reason to give you a relationship. Not a whole lot of upside to dating a lot of modern women, I'll tell you that. In fact, guys, a lot of dudes are straight up leaving their countries to go and find women who are more feminine. Like, there are dudes who are straight up leaving America. They're called passport bros. They literally just leave their Western countries and they go to Southeast Asian countries because women are nicer over there. So, hey, do with that what you will.
He was behaving in a way that showed he was capable of being in a committed and loving relationship. But he verbalized he wasn't. So I hope that helps somebody if you get in this situation where somebody is telling you they're not ready, somebody is telling you that they're not ready to be a good partner, like they're telling you all of these things, but they're behaving in a way that's like, but you show up, like you behave like a really good partner.
Maybe, just maybe, you should stop trying to find a double meaning and just listen to what the man says. If the man comes to you and he says, hey, listen, I'm not relationship material, I'm not looking for a relationship, perhaps you should actually listen to the words that are being said. I mean, there are lots of guys who won't be clear and upfront. It's incredibly obvious. These women are absolutely suck at telling when the man's not happy to have a relationship with them. So if a man outright tells you, I mean, what's the problem here? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy to me, guys, how men can quite literally verbalize to women what they're saying, what they're feeling, and what they're thinking. And then the women will sit there and be like, oh, no, I don't think that's true, right? And you might think that this man is acting in accordance of a relationship. He's talking to you a lot. Okay, that's cool. But he said to you he doesn't want one. He's not pushing for one. He's not interested. I wanted to also talk about this, guys, right? So I said a moment ago, men are fully capable of having these relationships with you. They're capable of caring for you, all of this sort of stuff. They just don't want to. I would also extend this to things like compliments these days, right? Is like, back in the day, it was fairly normal to compliment a woman, to compliment her appearance these days and things like this. Back in the day, excuse me. But these days, guys, you do that sort of crap and you're like not the most attractive man. I mean, you're up for a court case. You're up for women yelling at you in public. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts, right? So Dudes are just opting out of this crap. They see the trap and they're not too interested.
A good partner, like they're telling you all of these things, but they're behaving in a way that's like, but you show up, like you behave like a really good partner. Listen, I guess, to their words too. I mean, that my thought was always, don't listen to their words, look at their actions. So that's what was super confusing. Like, but you show me better than you speak. And I kind of thought that maybe the verbalizing was based and rooted in insecurity. So I was trying to just work with and push through that, because no relationship's going to be easy.
You're kidding, right? So this guy says that he doesn't want a relationship. This woman decides to ignore that and try and push through and help him into a healthy relationship. I mean, guys, how crazy is this, okay? And I'll bring up this point again, but this happens for the dudes who are attractive, right? Because if this guy's unattractive, she wouldn't be pushing for a relationship. She probably wouldn't be doing any of this crap, right? Can it happen? Yes. Is it significantly less likely? Yes. But I've said this before, okay? Women will, if they're attracted to the dude enough, they will just rationalize whatever he does and says, and they'll twist it into something that makes him come across in a positive light, or like an I can change him kind of direction, right? Man says he doesn't want a relationship. Oh, maybe one day he will. I can lock him down.